You're about to watch a free clip of Old School. If you like it, wait till you see the whole episode. All the episodes in their entirety are available for members. Become a member by going to tyt.com/join. Welcome to Old School. Cenk, Uygur, Mark Thompson.
Hey, I love it.
Man, Mark, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm in a great mood.
Oh,
Ooh,
well.
Okay.
You'll have to explain why.
I will.
First of all, I have to say I got a lot of Cenk Uygur, and I can never get enough. But I got a lot of him hanging out with Bernie Sanders, huh? Yeah, Bernie's boy. I liked it. That was quite an event.
Right? The gathering at the Sanders Institute. Yeah. I was saying to John in the postgame, gathering, kind of a badass name for an event, right?
Yeah, The Gathering.
Yeah, The Gathering.
Was that a horror movie?
Could be, but still, you get the point. It will be. It will be a horror movie for the Republicans. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Here are my notes in front of me, okay. And then I'll explain why I'm in a good mood. Then I'll talk about our so-called sponsor.
That sounds like a show.
Yeah. The notes for Old School tonight include cheese curds, 3 cups of coffee, will Sessions finish him, and then meathead, superpowers, and my favorite, Old School, question mark. Okay, so those are among the topics that'll be discussed tonight.
There's some intrigue there.
Okay.
I get that.
I think that you will enjoy the meathead flight attendant conversation. Okay? So
I just came off of a cross-country thing. I know you do it all the time, and I have some observations along that way too. So.
Yeah. But before we do anything else, this show is sponsored by shoptyt.com.
Come on.
Okay, where you can get this lovely sweatshirt right here. Ooh, look at that, looks good. Yeah. No, admit it, you know that looks good, okay? And then, but hold on.
Oh,
resist the 45th.
Really sweet.
Damn, and then Mark has a new hat. Did you see
I have a new hat, and for me to change from the old school hat, it has to be hot, and it's hot. And look what Santa brought me.
Oh, yeah. Love it. Okay.
I like that.
No one does TYT swag better than Mark Thompson.
I have to say, my favorite thing I still don't have. I was kind of waiting for somebody at TYT to hook me up, but they did hook me up with this, so I can't really be too angry. I bought a lot of stuff at the store, even though I know I work around here. Yeah. I go to the store and buy it just because I want to kind of support this place. But I still haven't purchased the Stable Genius shirt, which I really want.
Oh, the very Stable Genius. Yeah. I have like 8 of those.
Yeah, do you?
Like, I already wore out a couple of them. My favorite story, and I think I might have even touched on it once here, is that there was a little string hanging out from one of them, and in an effort to cut it, I accidentally cut the shirt, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I'm a very stable genius who can't even cut a damn string from his shirt, right? So I'd give you one of mine, but it'd be like a tent for you.
Yeah, I'm going to break the glass and pull the lever and buy one. I just was waiting, but I'm gonna. Is the sale still on? There was a big sale.
Yeah, no.
I didn't miss it.
No, you missed it. Yeah, I'm so upset. When we do sales, we're not playing. Like, we'll say like, hey, this is not coming back for a year, right?
Yeah, and it's done.
And then, so anyway, and the last day to get Christmas guaranteed delivery was yesterday, so sorry. Yeah. But nonetheless.
It's a tough room, everybody. Very tough.
Nonetheless, shoptyt.com. Okay.
I don't need it before Christmas. Just knowing it's coming will sustain me.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't really know if there's no sale. Okay, who knows? Just go. Yeah. There might be.
There was a sick sale going on there for a while, and I almost bought I have my little list of TYT gear.
By the way, you should be. You work here, of course. You should be getting it for free, and we'll get you the very stable genius stuff, etc. But I like how you're secretly shoptyt.com's #1 customer.
No, I do.
Like, there's probably a list, and it's like Mark Thompson, and then like a big drop off, and then like Steven Garcia, Gabby Marita.
No, it's true. I do like to support, and I also, I'm a member. I pay a monthly to be a member also.
Oh, you're awesome.
So I love TYT. I think Turks do great stuff and have evolved in doing even greater stuff. And I'll shut up in a minute. It wasn't supposed to be a promo, but I'm just trying to say I feel good about supporting. It's not a big deal.
All right, you're awesome. And by the way, we're doing tyt.com/amplify to get the progressive message to other people in the media. And,
I love that.
Yeah, and so a bunch of folks have bought a bunch of packages for CNN, Fox News, NBC, et cetera. Today, Chris Cuomo replied back to me and was like, "Oh, that's great. That's so nice. Thank you." And because Andrew bought one for him, okay?
Oh, that's great.
Right. So tyt.com/amplify to buy Mark Very Stable Genius t-shirt. No, that's not how it works.
I'll tell you what, I'll mention my podcast, which is called The Edge with Mark Thompson.
That's right.
And on that, you can hear Michael Shore doing a lot of political analysis. We talk a lot about politics. We have a great guest on this week talking about constitutional stuff, but it's not always that. We have also actors and directors, and it's a pretty broad conversation after the politics at the beginning. Anyway, it's called The Edge with Mark Thompson. Go there. Those of you who check it out, download it, subscribe. That will make me happy. So we're on YouTube, we're on iTunes, we're in most podcast platforms.
So that's going to relate to old school question mark in a minute. But first, let's do curds, okay?
Yeah.
Cheese curds, first of all, enormously underrated. Okay, I've come to that conclusion.
Now, what are cheese curds, Cenk?
See, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, people don't even know what, like half the population doesn't even know what a cheese curd is. And that's a crime against humanity.
Okay.
Okay, and so, and they have a very unfortunate name.
Yes, I agree. The name is very poor.
Yeah. So we'll get back to that because that's also the comment we're making is slightly racialist, but it's okay because I have the immunity idol. I'll explain.
Wow.
Okay, all right. So
there's a lot here.
Right, but back before you were a vegan, and boy, this is a perfect week to have you on, Mark. So one of the reasons I'm in a good mood is I got some good news a little recently. I can't talk about it, not a big deal. Everything's secret with me, and that's why I say it on air because I'm an ass. Anyway, and one of my favorite people on the planet is on with me here, Mark Thompson, and so you always put me in a good mood, as you do with everybody. But we also had like accidentally Animal Appreciation Week here at the Young Turks. Well, I interviewed several, 3 different animal rights folks this week.
So great.
Yeah, one of them tried to convince me to be a vegan. Okay, so we'll get to that in a sec too.
That's maybe a bridge too far, but
as it turned out. So did you now you can't? So what are cheese curds? First of all, So cheese curds are little balls of cheese, but that are like really greasy and fried and juicy and so delicious.
And where do you get them?
Mainly in Wisconsin.
But I mean, are they sold at supermarkets or fast food places?
No, it's like an appetizer.
Okay.
It's like buffalo wings, mozzarella sticks, cheese curds, right?
Okay.
And so they are big in Wisconsin. That's actually true. But they are, of course, you can get them in other places. And in fact, they were on the menu in a place I went to in Vermont over the weekend. Did I mention I was at the Sanders Institute gathering? That's where I was.
No, that's exciting. I want to hear about that.
Anyway, and then I just had them here in LA. So apparently they're kind of everywhere. But they are really under the radar. And like fat asses like me that for the first time, I had my first cheese curd in Wisconsin, like when I got 7, 8 years ago, I guess, maybe 6 years ago, something along those lines. And I was like, where have you been my whole life? Juicy little balls of cheese. Okay. So now, before you were vegan, you obviously never had a cheese curd because you weren't sure.
No, and I was a cheese hound before I was vegan. In fact, I had a house account at a cheese store. Like all they sell is cheese. Like you walk in and the smell is just, I mean, to a lot of people would be like ugly and awful and biting, but to me it was like, yes, those are the cheeses you want with the mold in them and all the, they really got a bite. So I used to eat pounds of cheese. I mean, I put away tons of cheese. And then I found out how they get dairy, and dairy is, to me, I'm vegan for ethical reasons, so you have to look at the ethics, and that's like top of the list. I often say I'd rather have a steak than have any cheese because what they do to those cows, those cows have to be pregnant to make the milk, and I'm not going to...
Mark,
But anyway, so the point is...
Did I mention how delicious they were?
So the point is... I do remember cheese, and I was also in the trance that cheese puts you in. So I get this.
Yeah.
So that when you found a cheese product that you just love and you just want to bathe in, I get that.
Yeah.
I get it.
So that's exactly what I was asking. So my wife is one of the leading anti-mold activists in the country. That's not true, and nor is she an activist of any sort. But man, she is so anti-mold. Like she's always on the hunt for mold.
Oh, in your house?
In our house and on the food. Like if she even sees slight discoloration of any sort, she's like, mold, throw it away right away, right away. Okay, she's like. No spore of mold will ever get past my wife.
I mean, that may be an asset that she has.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it keeps us healthy, right?
Right,
and I'm not in the anti-mold community.
Right.
And in fact,
formally you're not, but
yeah. Well, so so let me explain.
Yeah.
So back when I was a Republican, one of the boneheaded things that I believed was mold. Really?
Right, another liberal thing. Yeah. Oh, the liberals can't have a little mold.
Yeah, toughen up, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, this show originally used to be called Mold School.
Come on! I'm telling you, right off the Sanders thing into turn 3.
Okay, so no, but I really believed that. I thought it was like oh, the liberals are being. It wasn't a political thing as much as people are being soft. I'm not buying this mold conspiracy.
I see.
Et cetera. Now that was the old days. Of course, I understand science and et cetera. And it was like at least 1/3 tongue in cheek. Okay, it's deeply embarrassing that it was 2/3 not, but so anyway, but now, like even to this day, I'm like, the food, does it really have mold on it? And why don't we just cut that piece of mold out and keep the rest of it?
That's a defensible position. Why don't we just cut that piece of mold out?
I mean,
yeah. What antibiotic was it? Penicillin that was discovered by accident because of mold, right?
See, there is a pro-mold advocacy to be made.
Because of mold that penicillin was discovered, because it was killing the mold. And then wait a minute, what's going on? There's something here that's killing this bacteria, and bam, antibiotics are born. Yeah,
you're welcome. Yeah, I watched Moana with the kids too many times. Okay, so, but my wife, I mean, there's like a spore of mold, and she's like, wham, wham, wham. Like she installed a system in our house, red alert, throw away not just that, but everything else in the fridge just in case, etc. So this is a very long prelude to her being like, the other day she was like, blue cheese, don't get it. The mold's built in.
Oh my God.
Because she's like, that's crazy. That's the craziest thing I have ever heard in my life.
The whole process, of getting these cheeses and building the right mold in, and all of the different ways that they get these tastes, and they'll infuse it with vinegar, they'll infuse it with sherry, they'll infuse it with all these things. Yeah, and it's really, I mean, the process of making the cheese after they've done all the cruelty, the horror to the animal, that's a science in itself. So. That's funny that she would just go, no. I'm just looking for what? The orange stuff that's in the, what is that, Velveeta?
Yeah. No, she's not a Velveeta advocate either, but
no, she strikes me as a brie. Is it, or is that too high end? Or
no, it's too hard to predict. It's actually a trick question. It's none of the above. She's Chinese, and the Chinese don't do cheese.
Oh.
Okay, now, look. Is that a broad overgeneralization? Of course, right? But it is interesting. So, like, there's not a lot of cheese in the Chinese diet. There's some, but very, very little, right?
That's why their complexions are so good. That's why they live a long time.
Okay.
Bravo, Chinese.
Okay. And what's interesting is not from any nurture aspect of it or at all, but my son hates cheese. My daughter loves cheese. She loves mac and cheese.
Sure.
My son, I don't know, like genetically Chinese, and he's like, not interested. This stuff is as bad as mold. Okay, then when you combine blue cheese, oh, forget it. Like that's like the worst.
Yeah, that's a way to get somebody. Mold. So if somebody's not so strong on cheese, and you throw some blue cheese in front of them, that'll pretty much keep them out of the cheese hunt forever.
Yeah. So now back to curds.
So the underrepresented cheese product.
So we're done with that. We're done with the cheese portion of the conversation.
Okay.
But onto the word curds. Okay, cheese curds is universally accepted, and if you're out there and you think, no, that's a lovely word, you're I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you're in the minority. Okay, and nothing wrong with being in the minority. We're all liberals. Okay, but you're in the minority of Kurd-loving community. Okay, as a word. Okay,
right.
But then it gets uncomfortable because you realize that the Kurdish people are also called Kurds.
Oh.
Okay.
No, but that's different. It's putting the cheese in front of it that makes it bad.
It is. Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Like Kurds by themselves, like the Kurdish people, Kurds. Like when you hear it in the context of the Kurds have recaptured, Ramallah. That makes no sense. That's in Palestinian territories. But you see my point.
Yeah.
Okay. There's something Sarah Palin would say. No, she wouldn't. She wouldn't know what Ramallah is. Okay. Anyway.
And she certainly wouldn't know. Oh, that doesn't make any sense because it's the Palestinian territory.
Right. So that doesn't sound weird. That sounds normal, and in fact, almost arguably a little cool, right? I think Turks sounds cool. I think Kurds sounds cool, like in that context.
Right.
On the other hand, Turkey, not cool. Right. I'm just keeping it real, and I have the immunity. I don't say that.
I don't see Turkey one way or the other. That is to say, I see it as it doesn't move the meter at all to me, bad or good.
You're abstaining on the Turkey resolution.
No, I'm not abstaining. Believe me, I have strong opinions, as you're well aware.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that Turkey to you is a bad, but to me it doesn't move the meter to bad.
Okay, interesting.
Anyway, the Kurd thing I think is completely changed when you add the cheese.
Yeah, it does, and it's weird. It's like a little magical how that happens. But the Thompson delegation is voting strongly neutral on Turkey as a description of a country. I'm voting against it, ironically. So then Jacory becomes a tiebreaker. You're also neutral.
There you go.
This is very un-old school. There's not a lot of neutrality in old school.
It's not neutrality, Cenk. We're telling you we feel strongly about something, but we feel strongly that it's neither bad nor good. That's not a neutral position.
Okay. All right, Asher, in an unexpected vote, running audio is going to have to break kind of a tie. Tie-ish. Okay, not really. I guess I could declare it a bad word because it's 1 versus 2 strong.
Yeah, you'd think you'd stop it here, but apparently you want to see if anyone else happens,
because I'm curious.
Well, sure. So turn to an employee who works for you and ask them to weigh in on this issue.
Yeah,
which you have already indicated you hold very dear to this evening.
Yeah, well, but it cuts both directions. I voted against the word Turkey, but I am from Turkey, and the name of the show is The Young Turks, or at least the network.
It's confusing, but
so I put Asher in an unwinnable situation.
Exactly.
So hence, Asher, what do you say? A rare female voice on Old School. Turkey, a good word, a bad word, or a strongly neutral word?
For the country.
Not for the animal, for the country.
Just the word. So you're asking just the word itself?
Just the word.
If it's, I like well, it reminds me of Thanksgiving. I don't know. I like the phrase.
Now we're actually at a tie. What have I done?
Oh, geez.
Now what have I done? Okay.
I couldn't quite hear. She says she likes it for
because it reminds her of Thanksgiving.
So that means she likes the word.
Yeah. So she's voting like I'm voting not like. You guys are both saying right in the middle, right?
No, we're saying and so we win.
No, you don't.
Yeah, they're 2 against 1 against 1. That's
you guys win. That the word Turkey is actually totally neutral.
Totally neutral. It's neither good nor bad. We win. Jacory, we won it.
And they say this is a show about nothing. We have adjudicated this, and yet they say it's about nothing. Okay.
Oh, that was great. That was very good.
So speaking of which, now let's go to Old School, and then I'll come back to animal consciousness, cups of coffee, etc. This is an interesting question, Mark, about this show. Now, the members love this show. That's seen in all the comments, but it's also empirical based on the number of people who are members who watch Old School, etc. Right?
I see. Okay.
But now Old School, we've done this curious thing where it's on a lot of different platforms, right? So, and we started it as a 1-hour podcast,
right?
And we've got the first half an hour on YouTube, etc. But Old School, to like blue cheese is sometimes an acquired taste.
I see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw you take on a hater once or something, or not you. Maybe it was Ben or somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but look, the only reason why old school would ever have a hater is because it's on YouTube, right?
Right.
Because like, come on, conservatives, you secretly like it, right? Come on, you know you do. Okay. I mean, we shit on you from time to time. That's true, okay? But largely it's a discussion of Kurds and Turkey, but at the right kind. And you like it. Anyway. But on YouTube, I don't know if they're paid or not paid. The first 100 comments must by law be negative.
I see. Okay.
Right? But that's okay, that's okay. That's not the question. The question is, will old school take off in either one of those formats?
Oh.
Right? Because some folks that have looked at the business aspect of the TYT network have been like, old school, that's cute, but it's just for your funny little fans, your members that like you guys, but who else would ever watch that show, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they didn't see the episode where we figured out the word turkey and whether it was positive or not, but this one.
Those conversations existed prior to this episode, which I think makes it clear you can monetize it, you can do all. I mean, it's going to bring people to. It's going to bring all the boys to the yard. Is what it's going to do.
Yeah. Milkshake, another problematic food product for vegans.
Yes, that's true.
But nonetheless, it does bring the boys to the yard, from what I understand. And I don't know the answer. I think I know the answer, but like we put up, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, on YouTube, since we made the decision to do that, and the numbers are, okay.
Yeah.
And so there's some chance that they stay forever, and it might be because people are lukewarm to it. It might be because it's not the right platform, or it might be that the algorithm gods do not favor it.
Oh,
and
that's
so
true.
So it never gets served to anyone, so they don't have an opportunity. I don't know, right?
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's enough of a variety and a texture of different kinds to TYT that you'd think that if they tune in and we're not talking about politics all the time, they might still run with it and begin to get the vibe. You have to know the vibe of old school, though. If you just happen upon it, you'll go, yeah, but what about Bernie? What about what's going on in Wisconsin? What's about,
But we did discuss the cheese curds. Why? Is there something else going on in Wisconsin this week?
And so, you never know. But I forgot all about that algorithm thing. That could keep you down forever.
No, but I don't know. So I'm really curious. Like, will it just stay at that level and go? And I'm fine with it. God bless. Go forward. If you like it, you like it. Et cetera. You want to be a member and get the whole hour and a half. Bless your heart. TYT.com/join. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. Anyway, or if we're right, and all of a sudden it's like, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, and that would be awesome.
Yes, sorry, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, it's just to finish real quick. And YouTube is not a great platform for it, but podcast, right? And we give a real full hour, and the half hour is extra for the members, et cetera, but like the hour conversation is a fun podcast, et cetera. Like, is it just gonna be like, it's okay, it's fine, or all of a sudden, like, Pod Save America and Mark Maron look around and go, what the is this old school thing?
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
that would be so much fun. Wouldn't that be fun just to have that pop out of nowhere?
It's a great, it's a great environment. It's a great platform for this show. I love podcasts, and this show has that kind of feel where you can spend time with people talking and just enjoy it. So in a way, that podcast platform is right. I do a podcast. Have I mentioned I do a podcast called The Edge with Mark Thompson? It is also, I try to keep it in a sort of conversational kind of feel. I don't want it to feel too much interview all the time. So even when I have Michael Shore and we talk about politics, it's supposed to be a conversation at its best. But anyway, more to the point, so it's my business to listen to like a lot of different podcasts, which I do, and figure out if there are any different ways things should be done, or this fits right in to the stream. Like you don't have to change anything about this show to make it a good podcast. So it's great that
Yeah,
you guys
it's built to be a podcast. Yeah. The original conceit of Old School was Ben and I talking like we did on the radio back in the day.
Longer.
Right, more of a conversation, longer, less prepared. Not having to, get dressed up and all that stuff. Just put on a hat and a t-shirt and show up and shoot the shit about the stuff that's in the news or in our lives, right? Sure. That was the original Young Turks. In fact, I remember we were on in Wichita really early on when we were just a radio show, and we were a weekend show in Wichita, and we killed it. We went from like number 13 to number 1 in the market.
Wow.
Okay, and that's my recollection of it. And I was like, man, we cannot buy a beer in Wichita, okay? and I was super psyched about that. And then one day, one of our fans from Wichita wrote in, must have been an email back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. And said, God, guys, I am so disappointed. I was like, okay, this piqued my curiosity. He's like, I was your number 1 fan. I told everybody in Wichita to listen to the show because it was amazing. Then I found out you're liberals. So, think about how interesting that is. He'd been listening for months and months, telling everybody in Wichita to listen to the show. He didn't even know we were liberals.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Now, remember, what we're sending to Wichita, since it's a weekend show, is only one show out of the 5 that we did for Sirius Satellite Radio.
Sure.
I don't think it was even a full show. So we might have put together a less political form of it.
I see.
But still, it was amazing. And so like many months into it, he's like, oh my God, they're no good libs. Oh, yeah. I didn't think they were libs. So
wow, that's a wild, wild moment.
Yeah.
I have received emails about my podcast. People come to find my podcast through TYT. I mean, some will jump into that. I also do some kind of, it's conservative radio. I mean, I'm obviously, it's like an ultra progressive, but yeah. I mean, it's a lonely voice in a kind of a more conservative arrangement there in Los Angeles. So people who come to the podcast from that place end up with giving me some reaction of the sorts you're talking about, which is, I heard the first part, it's just a couple of liberals in a liberal echo chamber and blah, blah, blah. And so I worked so it doesn't sound like an echo chamber, but obviously I have a bias, and sometimes, when things are so egregious and crap's going down, you got to call it out. What's interesting in your story is that, as you say, we delivered this, and in all of this time, I mean, nothing in all of those conversations really suggested your political leanings.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's really cool.
And if you take the politics out, that's why I say, I was kidding around about conservatives, you actually like Old School, right? Because if you take the politics out, I think conservatives do like the show.
Sure, why not?
Right.
It's just people hanging out talking, bullshitting. Yeah. We all are. That's what's being lost in it. We're so dug in. I mean, I hate to, these have become hackneyed terms because it's so true. They've been used so many times with the identity politics and, digging in and just not, I don't want to hear it. Oh, they're liberals, but it's just, wow.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm going to get slightly political and then I'll get back out of it and talk about coffee. But like the Missouri and Arkansas, they vote overwhelmingly for increasing minimum wage. The Republicans are dead set against it. Then they turn around and vote for all Republicans. It makes no sense except that their identity is Republican.
That's it.
Right.
I was just reading an article the other day about this, and then we really will round it up and get back to coffee. But we try to argue facts and we try to lay out sort of the stark realities of conservative or whatever the hell you want to call this, neoliberal, whatever crap they're doing. And yet the truth is that the identity politics, as you say, will rule the day. I mean, you can't win on facts. The facts almost don't matter. I mean, and take out the almost.
There's, especially these days in Trump world where he's just decided to decouple himself from facts and reality and be like, let's try this out. And he's floating out in space like Sandra Bullock, like boom.
But
and a lot of people are like, oh, he got it. It's awesome. Yeah.
He's made it okay.
Yeah.
Somehow. I mean,
like before it was implicit that, hey, we're appealing to their emotions, fear, anger. And you could argue liberals do likewise on climate change, for example. I don't think so, but I could understand that argument that you would make, right? and that they're appealing to emotion, et cetera, but nobody would actually say it, right? Now the Trump administration is like, yeah, we do alternative facts. What are you gonna do about it?
No.
Okay, sad day for you. That's what we do, okay? And Trump will come out and say one thing, and then a minute later or an hour later come out and say the exact opposite thing and be like, what are you gonna do about it? I mean, in a sense, I almost appreciate what a tough guy he is about it. Like, yeah, I'm lying, so what? What are you gonna do about it? Right?
Well,
it's the Jersey in me. That's
you made that point, and a while ago, a long time ago, but it was such a good one, which is that that in a way, not that's an extreme version, like yeah, but what are you gonna do about it? But the damn right is what, that's what the progressive movement needs. Is I want free education, I want free college education, and I want single payer health care. Damn right, that's right, I want it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be expensive, yep, it is. But a lot cheaper than the wars, the military machine, et cetera. So,
yeah, it's I think about it, and so I love counterattacking, I love attacking, I love any form of fighting, and part of our slogan is too strong, right? And now that I think about it, I'm a Jersey guy, originally a Turk, right? And I even have some cheese curd in me. Okay, well that's
more than you
tonight.
did when we last talked.
Little from tonight. No, I'm arguably 1/8 Turkish. We're not sure. Okay, I'm going to do an Elizabeth Warren-like DNA test and find out at some point.
I hope I'm here that night.
Yeah. So and by the way, so I also have immunity idol on curd,
right?
Since I am potentially 1/8 Kurdish. So I could make fun of that word, all I like as well. Did we invent the term immunity idol? Yes. It's from Survivor, obviously.
It's from Survivor, yeah.
But like when you're talking about your own race, you have the immunity idol.
Oh, sure.
Okay, and it can't be voted off the island.
Right.
But I want to talk about identity politics, both in terms of Republican versus Democrat, but also races and stuff. But unfortunately, to our good friends on YouTube, this is the end of the road. A half an hour went by in a second. But because of the algorithms, most of you didn't see it.
What time are we actually ending on YouTube?
Well, it's not live on YouTube. Only members get it live. So we tape it live on Wednesdays for the members.
I see.
If you're watching it on YouTube, you're probably seeing it on a Saturday.
I get it, okay.
So if you want the hour version, go find old school TYT on podcasts. And then of course, if you want to get the whole show, tyt.com/join, become a member, watch it live. Sometimes you guys tweet in the middle of the show, the live members, and help us answer questions. So anyway, much love to the YouTube audience. Let's continue with the podcast.
YouTube audience, The Edge with Mark Thompson is the podcast. Now, this is a record for the number of times I mentioned the podcast.
Yeah, but I like it. I'm into it.
I feel I've got to hustle my own brand,
Yeah. I respect the hustle.
It's free, by the way.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.